So today I'm going to review a bow. Sanlida Archery reached out to me and they asked if we would review a bow for them in exchange for putting a link on our YouTube channel, and then we would get a percentage. We said, no, we're not going to do that, but we will review the bow for you. So we are not willing to get paid by them, but we said we'd be glad to. I would be glad to review the bow for you and give a completely honest, unbiased opinion. Because when you get paid, it's hard to be very honest, and that's not how we do things here. We're going to be very transparent and honest. If I love this bow, I'll say that. If I don't like it, I'll say that. I'm going to be completely unbiased about it, the pros and cons of it. So what they've sent us here, they decided what they wanted to send us. And it says Sanlida Hermit X8 ILF hunting recurve. So let's open it up, see what we've got here. All right, so this is how it comes. So this is what's in the box. We've got a string here, 14.1433. I'm not entirely sure what those numbers are. Maybe that will remain to be seen. Let's look at the string real quick and see what we got for a string. This might be the extra serving material for the nocking point. I'm not sure, but it is really tied together. String looks super thick and bulky. I'm not a fan of that to begin with. That looks really thick, and the tie back in is not pretty at all. It's pretty big, but it does look like a better string than what I've seen on some Chinese bows, just right off. But it wouldn't be. I mean, we'll just have to see how it shoots, but it's going to get you out shooting, that's for sure. Okay. All right, and then in this package, you've got, looks like a shooting glove, little cheap. Okay, let's try this on. Okay, and these are adjustable, so you've got the different holes depending on how big your wrist is. Looks like I need about the smallest one, maybe. Oh, maybe the second. Well, to get it tight, not too bad. Not good either, though. Not too great, but it would get you shooting once again. So. All right, so we've got the glove, we've got the string. Lay this stuff out here. That's what's in the box. In this here, you've got your tool set. And, oh, there's an arm guard. Let's look at the arm guard real quick. Oh, that's kind of cool. I mean, it's cheap, but it's got the gator skin. I mean, it looks kind of cool, to be honest. See how this goes. So this would go round. If I can get this on. This one goes here. Yeah, that would do the job. They look durable enough. I don't really have any complaints there. Yep, that would work. So the arm guard definitely would do the job, be good. So that's good. And I mean, if you're starting out, all this stuff, you know, it would definitely get you out shooting. Here we've got a stringer, bow stringer, which that's pretty typical, basically the same we have in America. That would work as advertised, I'm sure. And here, this is your manual. This is, okay, we don't need that. Well, that does say the dimensions, which it's a 19, must be a 19-inch riser and 40-pound bow. And letter of thanks. And then here is your manual right here. So, just anyway. Okay. All right, and then we've got, well, they sent silencers even. Oh, that's cool. This is a complete setup. This would definitely get you shooting. It looks like they got the silencer material there. 2 of those. I'm not a fan of this type of silencer. I like the rubber whiskers because the laws of physics tell me, and from my experience, that the rubber whiskers are the best silencer out there. All right, so let's take a look at this here bow. This is what we all wanted to get to right here. It's wrapped pretty good. The packaging, I can't complain on that. Looks like it's packed pretty good. Let's just move this box out of the way. See what we got in here. There it is. That's pretty. That looks like a what we would call Diamolux or engineered wood. Some people use the Save the Rainforest wood on the Coca-Cola side of things, but this is basically, this would be Baltic birch laminated together and pressed. And it's proven to be a very stable material, so this riser should be plenty strong. Now, just looking at this bow, when I feel it, it's plenty big. It's not uncomfortable though. It has a nice, the palm swell and slope. It fits really good on how your hands slope. So the grip on this bow is good. I like the grip on this bow. There's really nothing wrong with that. It feels good. There's no burrs. There's no hot spots. A lot of times what I look for is this area right here. It will cut into your knuckle and give you a blister there if it's too low. On this particular bow, it isn't relieved a lot, but when I put my hand there, I don't feel that hot spot, so I think it would be fine. If they wanted to improve that area, they could just cut up there a little bit, and that would, so some guys have really big hands or big joints or big thumb muscles. A guy with really big thumb joint here, they might run into that spot right there. But on me, it feels good. So I'm going to say the grip, good. I like the grip. It feels great. Looking at the shelf, there is a slight radius on the side plate, just a very slight radius. That's nice. It's not a lot, and we're going to do some more measurements on that once we get the limbs together. But there is some on that, and I like to see that. Now, on the shelf itself, we have a fairly nice radius on the shelf. That's pretty good. It's not, there again, it's not super aggressive, but it does have a nice radius. So that's a good thing to see also. Generally, you want the high point of the shelf to be directly above the webbing. So right here, once again, when we get an arrow on it, we're going to see where that high point is. Looking at it, it does look like that is about the high point. So that's another good job, Sanlida. And just looking at the overall finish of the bow, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's got just a tiny bit of the orange peel on it, which means that it was sprayed. There wasn't quite enough finish put on it when it was sprayed. And that's where you get that little, sort of like what the peel of an orange looks like. But it was enough finish to where it's smooth. So overall, I mean, if you were looking at it from, say, that far away, you can't see it. So I say the finish is good because from a ways away, you really couldn't see it. And it's smooth. So there's no burrs on it. So that's a good thing. Let's go ahead and open the limbs. They got the tips reinforced with packing, and that's a very good idea. It does look like this tip almost came through, just probably from being bounced around, but still, I would say the packing is pretty good. Okie dokie. Now this is an ILF rig, so these limbs would be interchangeable with or this riser would be interchangeable with other limbs, of course. This one says, so this would be your 19 inch, I believe. Yeah, so the exact measurements are 19 3/8, but that would be considered a 19 inch ILF. It does have the adjusters right here for the bracket. You can adjust the straightness of the bow with that. I have made ILFs, and you don't have to have that if you tune it perfectly, but it does give you options. And so this is not a bad adjustment to have. It's actually good. So that's a good thing. Looking at the limb itself, it's pretty nice. It's pretty clean. The finish looks good. The string groove looks nice. The tips, while they're not that deep, they are even and symmetrical, which is what I look for. So the tips look good. I would like to see them just a little deeper coming in here, just so that you don't have a bit of a string hinge coming off of that groove. But overall, you're probably not going to see any extra wear with these string grooves, because there's really no burrs or high spots on them. So I would say the tips are okay. The only thing, the transition here, of course, is not faded in like I do mine, but that's okay. You can't do everything absolutely pristine when you're trying to manufacture a bow for an affordable, economical price. So I would say these tips look nice. I like them. I mean, you can feel that there, but overall, they look great. So I say good job on the limbs so far. Let's look at this limb. Now, this one had come through the packing. So same thing on this one. This limb looks good. It's nearly identical. So the symmetry from limb to limb is basically perfect. That's good. So, okay. So I'm not super familiar with this, but should be like any other ILF. So it looks like they've got a little piece of rubber here or foam to protect it from this thing damaging the limb, which is actually a great idea. Look at this. That completely covers that little attachment right there, and it couldn't damage. So that's innovative. Okay, so here we've got, this says bottom. Yep, bottom and top. Okay. So let's put the top on. That's good. Slides in nice. Slides in good. It's a pretty nice looking bow. It really is. Yeah, I don't really have an issue. I don't know what these bows cost new. They sent us this one, but from what I'm seeing, it looks pretty good. All right, so I did just quick look these up and see what they run for. This is a $150 bow, which is really not bad. I'm going to string it up here quick, and let's see. So the limbs on the Sanlida here, they look to be made out of maple to me. And you've got two laminations, and they are both tapered. So a nice significant amount of taper in both laminations. That's really good. That would make it really snappy. So it looks like the limb cores are made out of maple. All right, so that's about an 8 5/8 brace. That's a good place to start. All right, we're gonna just do some looking at this thing now. First, I'm gonna check the straightness, which with an ILF, that's not too big a concern. The main thing is if there actually is a twist in the limb itself that the brackets here cannot fix, then that's an issue. But if it's just one way or the other, it's a simple set screw here. You can adjust that real quick. So looking down this bow, look really straight. The bottom limb looks really straight. It's just a little bit off that way, but we'll adjust that real quick. We'll see how easy that is to bring back in alignment. Same thing here. I don't see, if you want to see the twist, if you want to check the twist, in it, for sure in an ILF bow where you know you can adjust it, but if you want to just look down here and see if the limb proper, if itself is twisted, what you do is you look along the flat area here of the recurve and then put it along the straight flat part of the limb pad on the riser, which that will be straight, and then just lower that down and look at that and see if those are parallel. If those are parallel, your limb is not twisted. Now, if you eyeball it down the bow and it's off to one side or the other, just looks like it's out of alignment. With an ILF, that's not an issue. You can just adjust these set screws and bring it right back into alignment. But if you look down here and you see, you see that this limb is like that, if it's moved like that, and this right here to here is not parallel, then you've got a bigger problem. Then that's an actual twist in the limb. These limbs are straight. There's no twist in these limbs whatsoever. Now they are out of alignment a little bit, but let's just see how easy it is to fix that. The best way to do that is to do that with the bow unstrung. You can do it a tiny bit with it strung, but it's not a very good idea. So we're going to start with this one. Actually, we'll try to do both of them at the same time. So we know we need to do the shelf side a little bit in. And on the bottom limb, just a little bit on the opposite side of the shelf. So we will adjust both of those just a tiny bit. It usually doesn't take that much. And I got these tools here that they gave me. So just adjust this. Okay, and then you need to loosen this one a little bit to give yourself the room. So just a tiny bit, loosen that, and then tighten that one back up a tiny bit. Doesn't take much. So the same thing on the bottom. We'll loosen this side just a little bit because we're just creating space. Just a little bit, and then tighten this side because this is the side that we want to move into alignment. Okay, let's see what we did there. Make sure it's seated real good. When you string a bow, if you have a situation like this, don't draw that bow with it like that, but it's real simple just to move that back into alignment and set it back down in the groove. Okay. That did a lot for us. That's really close to perfect. In fact, I really wanted to see how quick and easy it was to move them, and it's very, very easy. And I mean, it's so close that it's never gonna cause us any issues. So we're gonna leave it right there. I could mess with it and dial it down even more, but so that's very easy to adjust. Their adjustments here work very, very good on the left to right limb alignment situation there. Now, so once again, okay, so my brace is a little bit low. We're going to raise that back up, and then we're going to check tiller. Okay, so with the brace back up proper, just going to go off of the end of there to the fade out, 17 inches, 7 1/4 there. Okay, so we have an even tiller now. Now, once again, to do, well, actually we got about a 16th positive tiller on the top, which is good. No, hold on. I'm measuring too fast. Take it down a notch. Okay, 7 1/4. Yeah, about a 16th tiller. Okay. So now that could be right or it could be off. But for us to find what is right, we have to come down here. And I'm going to mark on this bow. Okay, I got me a little marker. I wouldn't recommend marking on your bows, but I am very thorough. And if you do want to do this, a little bit of denatured alcohol will take it right off. Do not use paint thinner or lacquer thinner. that will damage your finish. Put a little bit of denatured alcohol and you're good to go. So we're going to mark it 29.5. Okay, and so that is, so now we got to find the middle of that. Okay, so it'll be 5/16. That is the center of our bow right there. So I can see right now this shelf is higher than an inch. It's 1.5 inches. So with 1.5 inches, to tiller it perfectly, we need to be at 1/4 inch of tiller. Because 1 inch above the perfect tiller is about 1/8 of an inch. We know it's not correctly tillered at this time. Now, there's a couple questions I have, particularly. This bow has adjustable weight. It's supposed to be able to be you're able to adjust the weight somewhat. Now, I was reading in the manual, it said that a maximum of 4 turns only on this. Well, basically what happens is when you unscrew this, it will move those limbs. It will take that recurve and move it down like that by letting this limb pad in the pocket here lift up, which will lower the weight, or if they're all the way screwed in, it pushes those recurves back up, which increases the tension and gets you higher. So we can also use this to adjust the tiller. Now, this little screw here is, let me show you here. So all this little screw here does is when you loosen it, get the right, is it this one? There we go. Nope, must be this one. When you loosen it, there's a spring-loaded, this little part here, this little bullet point here is spring-loaded. And that is what clips in to that little slot right there and locks your limb in. Now, you might be able to adjust this little bullet thing a little bit and manipulate your tiller a little bit, but I doubt it. It's mainly just to keep that spring loaded under tension there. So what we're going to do, yeah, I don't think we're going to mess with that. What we're going to do first is we're going to try 4 turns here on these things and see what it does. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so with those adjusted 4 turns, now that's the maximum amount that you can do. Obviously, you can see there's a bigger gap here, but it also, brought those limbs this way. So like the wings of a bird, it brings them in. So it's going to reduce the poundage. But what did that do to our tiller? That's what I'm curious about. So we'll do a quick measurement here and see if that changed our tiller at all. 7 1/8. Okay, so that's really precise. So I did exactly 4 turns, and that means that their mechanics here, their hardware, is very precisely machined because that tiller stayed exactly at 1/16 with 4 even turns. So now I know that I need more tiller. This is probably something I'm thinking out loud here, but I think that the tiller is set at the factory, and most people are going to use these here just to set their poundage. But if you want your bow to shoot fantastic, you need to have the proper tiller, and you can do that with these ILFs. So we're going to do that with this one. So we need this limb to be a bit weaker and this one to be stronger. So we're going to tighten this one just a little bit. We're going to try maybe a half turn to begin with and see what that does for us. So that would be this tool. Okay. So let's go in 1/2 turn. Okay. And that will have tightened that bottom limb and left the top limb at the same setting. 7 1/8 there. But I have 7 here, so that's great. So that changed it 1/16 of an inch. Perfect. So a half turn changed our tiller. It looks like 1/16 of an inch, but I always double check myself. Yep. Okay, so that changed just 1/16, but we need a full turn because we need another 1/8 inch. So let's go back on here. And I'm gonna shoot this bow at the factory set tiller, and then I'm gonna shoot it at the modified tiller, and we're gonna see if we can tell a difference. So we need a full turn now. So 1 full turn in. So you probably can't see this on camera. This is kind of interesting, but that's a 1.5 turns in on this bottom limb, which made that limb go like this, but also dropped this here butt of the limb down lower into the limb pad. So if you look, you can see that the gap here is bigger than it is here. Not a problem. That's the adjustability of an ILF. But we're adjusting it for tiller right now. So at 17, we've got 7 1/16. So that's perfect. That worked absolutely fantastic. We now have our 1/4 inch tiller for the shelf to be 1.5 inches above the fulcrum of the bow. Okay, so we are about ready to go try this bow out. Before we do that, I'm going to raise the brace just a bit. I didn't even check their recommended brace, but I know about what I would run a recurve with this type of hooks on the recurve at, and I would run it about right there. But just let's see what their recommended brace is. I don't see it. But before we're going to do a couple things. I don't see the brace height anywhere. That's okay. We'll use what we know. There's a couple things we have to do yet before we shoot it, and I'm going to show you those. First, we're going to put a nocking point on here, and that's pretty self-explanatory, but I usually run mine at 9/16 above center. It's a good spot. It's a good starting spot, and a lot of times it's good enough just right there, and you never have to move it. So we're going to go 9/16 above center. Right there. I'm just going to use a crimp-on nocking point for this one. So we got the nocking point on. We've adjusted our tiller by using the actual poundage screws, but we're going to mess around with that a little bit more. One thing you got to do if you mess with these here poundage screws is you've got to lock them down, and that is done with this. And it's very important that you go counterclockwise, not clockwise. So this goes down into the inside of the shaft of this bolt, and then I've already tightened these, but I'm just going to show you how to do it. You go counterclockwise, not clockwise, because then it'll just unscrew that insert in there and drop it out the bottom. So set this and then counterclockwise, and that will lock your settings on these poundage adjustment bolts. So now I've got the proper tiller, I've got the brace height, I've got my nocking point. We're going to take it out to the shop. We're going to check and see what the poundage of this bow is. After adjusting that, I want to make sure that my limbs stayed straight. And they did. Well, this one did. Yep. So at this point, it's ready to shoot. But let's go see what the poundage of the bow is now. So at 28 inches, it's about 39 pounds. and that is with the poundage bolts adjusted to adjust for tiller. So I think that you could get another couple pounds out of it, but because we need to adjust the tiller, probably not quite as much as the manufacturer says. But now we're going to shoot it. We're going to shoot it and see with the tiller that I've set on it. Then we're going to shoot it with the tiller not adjusted, just like from the factory. We're going to see if it makes any difference. So we're going to shoot it now with a 1/4 inch tiller. Nice. Very smooth. Good speed. Shoot with a little heavier arrow. It's not loud either. It's pretty quiet for a recurve without silencers. Hey, that's not bad. Those arrows are flying like lasers. I'm impressed. Dead in the hand. Bullseye. I will say this on this handle. When I first put it in my hand, I really liked the shape. Now that I shoot it, your hand, the way I grip a bow, it kind of wants to fall off just a little bit. It wants to fall off the side. I would like to see this a little bit flatter here. But overall, it's not bad. The grip, if I was going to modify it, that grip needs to be modified some. Because when I pull it, it feels like my hand wants to slip a little bit to the side. It's pretty good. The performance is impressive on it. It really is. I like it.
That's smooth.
It is.
That's what's amazing to me is how smooth that is.
Well, it's a fairly long bow. I mean, a long riser.
That's I'm shot that took a tab in a while. Oh, muskrat's dead.
Yeah. But it's not that slow either. It's got good speed. Good speed. It's got it's smooth.
I'm gonna give up.
It's
I can't hit anything.
only thing I wanted to look at real quick is the radius of this. You know, I thought maybe it's not a true center shot bow, but that really doesn't affect you that much because it's cut far enough that it feels pretty center shot, even though it's not. It could benefit from being just a little bit over more. But what I wanted to look at here is where the fulcrum of that is. And you can see the fulcrum of that arrow. You can see where it kind of wore a spot in right there. So ideally, you want that moved back to about right here. The pivot point of it would be just a little bit better right here, but it's not too bad. What I'm really curious about is this is a 1/4 inch tiller. Let me try to hit the muskrat on top of there. Got him.
How hard was it to set up?
Oh, it's easy. Easy to set up. So did it stay straight? It did. Okay. Yeah, it's straight. Okay, now what we're going to do, I'm going to take these bolts and move this tiller back and the poundage back as if I were going to shoot it at max poundage, but with the factory set tiller on it. And we're going to see if that makes any difference. If that makes no difference in the shooting, then you don't have to worry about the tiller, but I think it will. So I'm going to go adjust that now. Okay, so what I've done now is I went ahead and screwed both of these limb bolts, the weight bolts. I've screwed them back down all the way to the bottom, which will be the maximum poundage of the bow. I've disregarded tiller completely. This is where most people that get this bow, they're not going to. There will be some that will adjust the tiller, and maybe if they watch this video, all of them will adjust the tiller because it's really not that hard. But a lot of people, if they don't know how important tiller is, they might just do it like this. So we want to test it like if you didn't do anything with the tiller. We're going to see how it shoots. If you just wanted the full poundage, no tiller adjustment, and see where we're at. So 42 pounds. So on this particular bow, you've got 3 pounds. You can adjust it 3 pounds up and down, all the way. No, that's not true. You could go further down, which I may show that yet. You probably could get more like 5 pounds because I didn't go all the way down. I went down to where I was adjusting the tiller to a 1/4 inch. But with this measurement here, with the bolts all the way down tight, that's as heavy as this bow is going to get, 42 pounds, which is a very nice weight. But right now, it's sitting at barely a 1/16 of tiller. And we're going to see how that shoots. All right, here we go. 42 pounds, basically even tiller. Good. Wow. Oops, that was a shaky shot. Okay, so this is interesting, and it proves my point that I've said for quite some time now. That tiller doesn't make as much difference as you think it does. So when our first session, I had a 1/4 inch of tiller by adjusting the limb bolts. Now I have barely a 1/16 of tiller, 1/16 inch of tiller, and I really can't tell much difference whatsoever. These arrows are flying straight. So I'm going to have to say that on this particular bow for sure, you don't have to worry about it that much. It's actually a well-tuned bow. And I'm really impressed with the performance of it. Yeah, it's shooting them like lasers at 1/16 inch of tiller, the same as the 1/4. Impressive. The performance out of this bow truly is impressive. I was kind of prepared to maybe find some significant issues here, but I gotta say I'm not finding them. It's got some good performance. Really, really impressive, actually. For $150, yeah. It's a bow. It's quite a bow. It really is. I'm enjoying shooting it. I'm going to show you these arrows. I'm going to show you this group. And this is the second time I've ever shot this bow. Second time I've ever shot this bow. What is this, 17 yards, 15? Look at this. I had that one flyer, but I was just stacking those things. And like I said, second time I've ever shot this bow, about 17, 18 yards over there. It's a lot of fun, really. It's smooth. It's got good speed. It's fast. Now, I will say this about it. If I was going to change something, I would change the shape of the handle a little bit, but it's not make or break by any means. It definitely is good enough to enjoy it and have a lot of fun and worth $150. If I was going to do it, I would give this a little bit more body right in here, because my hand wants to kind of drift. I have to consciously think about it and hold it in position. But that's not a make or break situation on that deal. The other thing that may cause some people issue is right here where the knuckle of your thumb goes. If that was relieved and you had more room here, that would be nicer too. However, I don't have huge hands, and it doesn't bother me. I know some people, this is probably could potentially be a hot spot. They need a little bit more material removed right there. But again, not make or break situation on that particular thing. I was super surprised about cranking this back down and not adjusting the tiller, just using the factory adjustment, factory setting for the tiller, how they tillered the bow. I thought we would see a big difference. I did not see a big difference. In fact, I didn't see a difference whatsoever. So it's well tuned, well tillered. It's fast, it's quiet, and this is without silencers on it. It looks well made, looks high quality. What else can I say about it? For $150, yeah, it's a good bow. It really is. Now, we're not sponsored by Sanlida. I'm not going to allow an affiliate link on this description of this bow on my YouTube channel. I do this simply to help other archers. I am not going to get paid by them. I will not get paid by them to do this. I want my reviews to stay completely unbiased, 100% honest. You can trust them, and there's no money going under the table to fund my opinion. So, with all that being said, the Sanlida Hermit X8 Recurve ILF rig, definitely a win. This is a bow that you would have lots of fun with and you could enjoy.